All right, good morning, everyone. Wave meteorologist Brian Good. It is 27 minutes after 9 o'clock on this Thursday, the 29th day here of June. We have the alert day that is out and active radar already with showers and storms, even a few warnings that have been issued at times right on the edges, anyway, of wave country. A lot to cover, obviously, on the storm setup that we have in place now, how we get into this afternoon's severe risk, and then, of course, into the upcoming weekend as well. Now, I'm going to cover a lot, so I know you're probably going to have a ton of questions. I'm going to try to keep up with them on the side here. They're flying in fast, so bear with me. There's also a bit of a delay when you type in what I am actually able to see here in front of me, so be a little patient with me on that as well. Hopefully, I don't get too technical. Let me know if I do, but I want to make sure I explain where we're at and where we're going with this entire setup, all right? First off, let's talk about the severe risk that is out, and it is one that is covering several days. Now, today's is more elevated. We have the enhanced risk. I'll show you a closer view of this in just a second, but it's enhanced risk or level 3 out of 5, roughly Louisville West for today. Tomorrow, slight risk. Saturday, slight risk. Could we see one on Sunday? Yeah, it's possible. I wouldn't rule it out, but certainly the next 3 days are going to be quite busy for us. We get right into the radar. A lot of thunderstorms just west of Louisville. It's been triggering the warnings. You probably are been seen on the bottom of the screen at times. And, of course, the watch is out as well. But in Louisville and on the eastern side, it's just rain. And it's struggling to hold together because the atmosphere is not really as prime as it is to the west to support even thunderstorms at this point. So you may get a rumble of thunder. But as far as anything intense, it's just not able to happen on the eastern side of this, which is a good thing. That's good for the next few hours, especially in Louisville and along I-65. Different story, though, around Evansville, as there is just a tremendous amount. Look at the lightning, crazy amount of lightning in that area. So let me get that off of there so you can see the actual storm. The Weather Service out of Paducah did issue a statement a few moments ago with this particular warning. This particular cluster of cells moving through areas of Perry County, approaching Perry County, about to move into Hancock County, and eventually into Breckenridge, has got a warning tag on it for winds that could go up to 70 miles per hour as it moves through. So kind of a big heads up if you are in that area around Tell City. Tell City, you're about to get rocked with some of the stronger winds and perhaps even some large hail with this. We've had several reports of large hail come out of some of these systems, especially up to about inch in diameter, a little higher in some cases. So that's been one of the bigger triggers really for the warning that I've noticed. When you look at the actual velocity itself for that area, again, it's a strong pocket of wind they'll be watching as it moves toward the Tell City area. The warning's pretty far in advance right now of that particular cell as it's moving just around, say, southern areas of Du Bois County, right over Gentryville, Ferdinand, now dealing with some of that strong wind gusts. Gentryville right now is picking up the strongest of the gusts right in the center of that. If that holds together, that's going to head right to the Ohio River on the border there as you get right into portions of Hancock County, just west of Breckenridge County. And if it keeps going, it'll move right into Breckenridge. So I know some of you are watching on the fringe area, O-wave country, from that spot. That's an area to watch for the strongest of winds that'll be approaching again. This is aiming more south. And if anything, this will actually keep trying to build a little more to the southwest between now and 11 o'clock, more so than build to the east. Kind of the opposite of what we would be used to in this scenario. But if you are in Breckenridge, parts of Grayson County, especially in western Hart County, I think you're in this spot that we need to watch for the next few moments as this push of wind moves through the area. Again, hail has also been the issue as well. Let's take a look at that, and we'll pull up the track on that we've had so far. These are just radar estimates too, by the way. I'll show you some of the reports in just a second. Pretty good signal for hail, right? And you can see it's right in the core there. The signal eased a bit as it moved right across southern areas of Indiana. Let me check this warning tag again on it. Yeah, look at the threat line. Can y'all see that? Let me pull it full screen. Sorry about that. I know it's hard. I can't even read it. So if I can't, you can't. See that where it says threat, it says considerable. You don't get those tags very often. It's not as bad as destructive. That's the bad ones, really bad ones. We had those Sunday. And that's going with hail size of about a little larger than $half, actually, about 2 inches in diameter is the potential. But again, 70-mile-per-hour wind gust is what it's tracking as it moves across like the Spencer County area, heading right over into northern areas of Kentucky. So that's one of the bigger issues will be the hail as it moves to the area. But also, of course, we've got to keep an eye on that strong push of wind as it moves through. I'm not seeing anything tornadic, just FYI. These are straight line winds that I'm seeing right now. You can sometimes get a little bit of a spin up on the leading edge of that, what we call little leading vortices. I'm not seeing any sign of that, but just be aware that this is mainly just a strong push of wind heading right into just the western fringes there of wave country for the next little bit. Let me know. Is anybody in there in that area? Spencer County, around Tell City and Perry County. Is anyone there? I'll try to scan real quick. Jason, I see you're in Clove Report. Anyone in that? I don't think I see any comments there. Let me know if you're in that spot. And Radcliffe, you're a little too far east at the moment, just FYI. But if you're in that area, let me know what you see as this moves through, because this is going to move through fast. That's the thing about these storms. They move through really, really fast in this kind of a scenario, which you don't see. It's a little different than what we had with these supercells that were forming on Sunday. These are walls of wind, and that will be the threat really for many of the waves you're going to see the next few days will be these bowing segments or walls of wind that come through. Majority of them are straight line wind events. You can, however, get an isolated tornado in that setup. So I don't want to say, no, you're not going to get a tornado. It's just that tornado threat is not the primary one. Straight line winds is number one. Hail is actually, I would say, number two out of that one as well. So there's the warnings. Again, let me put the radar back on so you guys can see the actual rain moving through. Severe thunderstorm watch. It is also in effect. You can, by the way, you can see the storm's already trying right there. Actually, I don't like the look of that on the side. It's a kind of a backwards look on its broader circulation on the leading edge. But that, again, that's heading right toward Tell City. I wouldn't be surprised at all you see this build a little more like this in this southwest fashion. It should be doing that here soon. That's good for those of you around Crawford County, eastern side of Breckenridge County, Hardin County, and east. And even Louisville's in that. It's just going to be some rain. You may hear a little bit of thunder every once in a while move through. It looks like it's obviously going to storm like crazy just because we have the smoke and the haze in the area now. In fact, here's a live look at the camera there. You can see just, once again, poor visibility, but a little bit of rain will also be moving through at times as this passes through wave country. All right. Let me show you the watch that is out. It doesn't include everyone, but it's a severe thunderstorm watch that is going to be in effect for Meade County, Hardin County, and west until 2 o'clock for this afternoon. I think they're just putting a buffer on the eastern side of that. I don't right now see a huge sign. I think I just heard thunder here at the station. I think you all probably heard at the same time I did. Anyway, a little bit of the eastern side is more of a fringe spot there, just as a safety net. in case some of the stronger wind gusts may try to sneak into part of your counties as it dives in. But I really think we're looking at Breckenridge and Grayson for our area, I think are the two that we need to watch. And I'm talking about within the next 60 to 90 minutes, if that will be approaching your area. Now, let me show you the reason why we're thinking that they are going to be a little more of an issue of turning, and that is because of the fuel that we have in the area. That is where we're going to see majority of it line up along and west of 65. See the red area? That is where your energy is. Storm complexes like this, you're going to hear the phrase MCS a lot. MCS stands for mesoscale convective system, blah, blah, blah. You guys don't care. It's a blob of thunderstorms, basically, and it's got a lot of strong wind with it in a large area. So these tend to cause more problems because they cover more real estate than an isolated cell could do. They usually cover 3 or 4 counties or even up to 8 counties. I mean, they can be rather large systems, but they feed on moisture. They will turn and adjust wherever the moisture is. Think of the game Pac-Man and how it hunts down as you play the game and bites away heading toward the gulls. This is doing the same thing. It's heading toward the moisture and will attack that area. If there's not enough fuel for it and not enough moisture, it will avoid it and it will disintegrate on its one side. And so it gives the appearance, when you look at a loop, that it's making a U-turn. Storms technically are not really doing that in this scenario. It just has that appearance because they're evolving toward the higher moisture. So that's the reason why at the moment we see everything happening more south and west of town. Much more energy to the west. Of course, that's where you got a lot more heat going on in Missouri, down in Arkansas. That's where you get the bright colors there. It's a lot of fuel. But what about later? It's a good question. After this first round moves through, notice the fuel. I'm going to animate this. This is going through this afternoon. Notice it builds a little more into the I-64 corridor, and then suddenly it gets wiped out. And the reason why it gets wiped out is because it is betting on the idea that storms are going to blossom and eat all that up, as we did this afternoon. Not all the models agree on this, and that is the biggest challenge we've got to figure out. As you're about to see, very conflicting data on this. But it is a setup that can become rather volatile. This kind of humidity at play, this kind of energy, and you heat things up. The storms, that time in the afternoon hours, 3, 4 o'clock, something like that, they certainly can have much more of a kick. And then all severe molds, types, whatever, are all on the table at that point. So for that reason, Storm Prediction Center has the enhanced risk right now that is out roughly from Louisville west. And the reason why, again, it's a little more east is to account for the idea that we're going to see a second round that will try to form once this current batch fades out. How long that takes, absolutely crucial on how this afternoon plays out. If this batch of rain here west of 65 lingers all the way into the afternoon, or at least past the noon hour, that will taper down this threat considerably for the afternoon. That's good. So you almost want the rain to hold on. If we end up getting rid of this and we try to heat things back up, I don't think you're really going to see a sunny setup because of the smoke and the haze. So you really won't notice it. But above that, there will be a lot of heating taking place. It will have the same effect. Breaking down the threats individually, tornado potential, low end risk overall, but it is more elevated between really Corden and Evansville. You look at the damage you wind threat, same scenario. Again, the Boeing segment, some of that is this morning, some of that is this afternoon. Storm Prediction Center, they got a very tough balancing act here because their outlook today is going to have to cover everything all the way through the night. So they're trying to account for the multiple rounds. So that's the reason why you're going to see these maps probably a change a bit, especially after the first round's done. There may be some adjustments for the afternoon round. So that update will be 12:30. 12:30 today. We will have the new map out unless they decide earlier, but sometimes they do. But you can see they got the little black lines just west of wave country. That indicates the potential for those 70 mile per hour wind gusts or higher that can happen. So much more of a threat right now to our west. Your hail potential does enter into our western counties. We've already seen at least that potential this morning. Certainly this afternoon, when you get heating involved, you increase the hail potential. Yes, once again, we're talking about large hailstones up to tennis ball size that can certainly develop in some of these storms for later on for this afternoon. And then the severe risk, as you get into Friday, it stays area-wide, and then Saturday, area-wide. Nothing changes. All right, see, new warning just popped in. Let's check it out. This is going to be for I don't think it has Breckenridge listed, which is really odd, but it does include. Oh, wait a minute. I don't know why, because I didn't zoom it down. Hold on one second. Let me zoom in a little more. So this is going to be the northwest side here of Breckenridge County. There we go. Perry and Breckenridge and Hancock until 9:30 local time. 9:30 local time. Severe thunderstorm warning. Notice the tag on this. I do not see 70 mile per hour gust anymore. I see 60 listed, and the hail size is 1.25. So that's about $half size. So that has come down a little bit compared to earlier as well. So let me look at the storm a little differently here. Let me hold on one second. Let me adjust the radar. So hang tight with me here, guys, as I adjust that. Let me check the chat. Is anybody in that spot there? And Twana's helping me out. She's monitoring the feed as well. So Twana, let me know if you see someone that's in that area, especially in Breckenridge County. But first off, if you're in that area, obviously go ahead and get in your safe spot. That's a crucial part of this. Charles, your comment about Flint Hill and the Hardin County. Right now, Hardin County is going to be right on the edge of this. I don't see a huge threat for Hardin County right now. Okay, I think it's going to be Breckenridge and Grayson. Okay, let me zoom in a little more. Here we go. We got Hardinsburg listed. There's Stevensport. There's McCoy. Then you got Short Creek all the way down into areas of Grayson. This right here, again, this is the spot we're watching. Let me put some times on this. And let me get a track on the warning here. Hold on one second. Let's see. This is moving. It is moving at 30 miles per hour. It's not overly fast, actually. I would expect it to be a little faster than that. So I can put a track on this. Will give me a second here to type. All right. So this is the leading edge of it. We'll see how much this can hold on. But if it were to maintain itself heading to the southeast, and I'm going to go all the way out to, let's do about an hour. Let's do about an hour. We'll start at that point and see how it behaves from there. But roughly over the next hour, this will put it in Cannleton coming up at about 49 minutes after the hour. Cloverport, 6 minutes after 9 your time. Hardinsburg, 25 minutes after 9. And Rockville about 9:30 local time. Again, if it holds its current path and build, which there is some fuel, as you saw there, to still work with, so it likely will try to keep building in that area. Let me check the wind fields one more time to make sure we haven't seen any changes on that as it moves to the southeast. I think it's southeast 30. It looks like they got a new warning out. They're trying to adjust to that southwest western portion. So that's also a sign too. Let me get rid of the watch box. There we go. That new warning right here, you see it flashing, just being issued. That's a good sign that they're already starting to see signs that this is going to build more southwest in the next couple of scans as it moves through. That's a lot of wind showing up there as it moves right across the Spencer-Gibson County area in Indiana. And it's about to hit the Ohio River. So it's very close to moving in toward the Tell City area. And again, it's going to just graze right there on the western side of Breckenridge County as it moves to the south and east there. Marianne, I'm hearing thunder now into Memphis, Indiana. We heard it here as well. Spencer County, Kentucky. Right now, Adrian, you're okay. You're okay. You're going to hear some thunder. I see the light report of rain there, Tony, into Fern Creek, E-Town. Let's see, thunder in E-Town there. Yeah, you're going to hear thunder. Thunder is showing up. Let me put the lightning back on because I know it's a little weird on this scenario. And I think some of that, too, is being a little induced with some of the particles that we've got from the smoke in the area. Very odd setup. I mean, it's hard not to imagine the smoke is not going to have some kind of an influence on this setup, right? Let me bring up the lightning. A lot of lightning. Oh, my goodness. This is going to get your attention. I mean, this is the kind of lightning and thunder it's going to try to sleep in the day. Good luck. That ain't going to happen. Now, as I scan to the east, you see it's all just light rain we're talking about here in Louisville. This is nothing severe that is in the metro at all. But there are some lightning bolts that are showing up, especially near the radar beam at Fort Knox into Bullitt County. You may very well be hearing that all the way to Taylorsville, to be honest. It's going to be a little more of a rolling thunder. So it's not the cracking thunder where it's like, shocks you and knocks you out of the chair, the type that scares everybody. It's not that kind of thunder on the eastern side here. It's more the rolling thunder we're talking about. This is a little more the loud, crackling thunder. That's what's going to be heading into Breckenridge County. But this is going to be a setup where you're going to have some light rain and some thunder in Louisville, and a lot of you watching really along I-65. This is only just the western fringes that I'm talking about here that are most at risk for your severe risk for damaging winds and the larger hail as it evolves. As I loop it, you can really see how, again, it's building southeast. Again, I have a little bit of a turn. It's going to feed. Think of Pac-Man. It's going to feed a little more here to the south and west as we head through time. And right now, I don't see anything threatening on this. Even across Indiana, you see the cells up in here. They look really potent, but they're really struggling. You see how they just kind of evolve right on the edge of where your instability is, right there on the western fringes of wave country, and even Indianapolis's viewing area. Same ordeal. So let me show you real quick the modeling. I'm sure you got a lot of questions. I'm going to get back to them. I promise I will. I just want to make sure I cover everything first, then we'll go back and retrack. Fair? Hope that's fair. All right. Let me show you one of the models that I think so far has done a pretty good job on the current setup. It's a little bit behind. Not surprising. These systems move faster than the models tend to show because they gain forward momentum and models just play catch up. But placement, not bad. Shows it moving through, then it begins to fade it out. We then have a chance to warm up. Look at the difference in temperature. 70s where the rain moved through, 80s, getting close to 90 in some spots on the eastern side. Then we get to about, it says 6 p.m. It's going to be faster than 6 p.m. It's probably going to be about 3 or 4 actually. We could see this. Now this looks really nasty, right? This is one of the high-res models. This is the HER model. It's updating right now, so I'm not sure if this is going to be the new update here in a second. It may update while I'm talking to you all. You have several threats in this kind of a setup. You got large hail that can certainly form. You're going to have a straight line wind when the ball's out. Think of the letter C and flip it the other way around. So when you see the letter C backwards, that is a sign of straight line wind. So this is the letter C backwards. That's where you can get your straight line wind damage. On the leading edge, the little wiggles, if you will, right on the kink on the northern side and even here on the southern side of that, on either side of the letter C, that is where you actually can develop brief tornadoes that can form. You got to think if you are in, say, in the pool, and you take your hand and you just move your hand through the water. In the pool, the water where your hand is will go with your hand, but on the either side, you will see the water kind of swirl on the edges there. The same thing happens to the atmosphere. You're moving the air rapidly in one direction in a very focused spot. It creates a little bit of a vortice or a spin on the ends, on either end, and that's where you get your tornado warnings. That's not a huge threat today. The straight line wind threat is going to be number 1. Hail will actually be number 2. Tornado threat, I would actually put it almost number 4, because the third one that I haven't talked a lot about, I think is going to be flooding. We've had a lot of rainfall in some of these events as of late. I know personally I've had over 6 inches of rain in the past 10 days. Flooding's been a problem. This can easily put down a lot of rainfall. At least it's moving and not stalling, but you get, we're looking at maybe 3 or 4 of these bad boys between now and Sunday, maybe more. That really begins to add up. So we may get about a 6 to 12 hour gap in between these rounds. At best, that will help in draining some of the ground in the area. But again, you get multiple rounds, you're going to have some problems with flooding. All right. So anyway, the modeling, I told you guys to go on a tangent. So there's the idea for the HER model at around 6 p.m. Moves on by. Then we don't have much of a break. Around midnight, it tries to develop the next round. Now, during the overnight hours, you really don't run into as much of a severe threat as you would in the afternoon. You still can get some gusty winds. You usually can get some hail, certainly an overnight event, and you can get a lot of lightning. So you may have a tough time sleeping tonight if this ends up being true. That'll move through before we even get to sunrise on Friday. We get a break momentarily, only to face another round. Now, the next round that shows up Friday afternoon doesn't look impressive on this model, but it has a good chance to be much more of an issue when we get closer to the most recent runs on that. So that's the HER model. You saw how dramatic it was for the afternoon and then later tonight. Here is the graph model. Actually, not bad. It's a little overdone. I think it's overdone on what's happening now. It's quite widespread with it. But I think placement, yeah, it's not bad. It's good. But the afternoon round, it has nothing. Doesn't even pop anything. It keeps us relatively capped or lid on the atmosphere. Completely different scenario. Later tonight, nothing. Tomorrow morning, after sunrise, then it tries to bring in a wave about this time tomorrow, and then more waves will likely repeat themselves after that as we get into Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, and to Saturday night. So you can see the modeling is just not handling these situations well. So what do we have to do? What is the point, and what I'm trying to, or all of us are trying to tell you as far as your planning? just have a way to get notified. Make sure you have a way to get alerts, and expect the forecast to keep changing. We issue these alert days well in advance to make sure that you get a big heads up that this is the setup we're facing. Now we just need you to help us out and just staying up to date with the forecast, because it will not be the same as even 2 hours ago. It's not going to be the same on timing. It's going to keep evolving and changing. As we get the data rolling in and our confidence in one scenario or another takes place, we will make those adjustments on the app. We hand type all that stuff into the app and adjust it based on your location within Wave country. So make sure to have your GPS location services turned on so that our app can find you. Otherwise, it would be kind of pointless. You wouldn't be able to get the alerts. All right. So hope that all makes sense. So there you go. That is where we stand on the storms. I don't want to get too into the weeds on the weekend rounds because, as you saw, they're all over the place on timing. Just know that this thread is probably going to keep repeating. So let me get the radar back into the same spot, and let me try to get to some of your questions. There's a lot of questions. So let me backtrack. I'll try to be fair and go back to the beginning here. How much rain we're going to get in the metro from Johnny? Where you at, Johnny? There you are. Metro, that's a good question. You know, we're adding on to it now light amounts, but each one of these rounds of storms can produce 1 to 3 inches. That may be on the high end on the 3-inch mark, but at least one can certainly take place. But if it depends, if Louisville ends up getting every round I just described to you and showed you, then you can do the math. That's where we're going to run into problems. I don't know if we're going to get every one of them. That's the thing. Some of you may get 1 or 2 of these rounds and you may avoid all the rest. Good. Some of you may get every single one. And that's the threat. We just need to make sure that everyone's aware that's possible. It's absolutely possible. So a good question. I hope that hope we don't get too much excessive on this. Marianne, how's it look for Floyd and Clark County around 3 p.m.? I have a function. Oh, Marianne. First off, you're a socialite. You're everywhere. Marianne, again, it depends on how this is going to evolve. What will help decide which model is going to be right of what I just showed you about how this afternoon will go is going to be the next 3 hours. How this evolves, and I'm going to be watching up here upstream and keep it on Indianapolis. If this rain begins to fade out and we start seeing some thinning of the clouds, confidence in scenario 1 that I showed you of storms popping goes up. If this lingers past the noon show today, then confidence in scenario 2 of hardly anything will go up. Hope that makes sense. So more than likely during the midday and noon show today, I may be changing my mind throughout the show based on how that even evolves. So that's a tough call, but be aware. Right now, between now and noon, it's just rain. We're talking about rain and thunder, light rain and thunder. Your severe threat again on the western side. So I hope that made sense on that end. Again, you can tell how we have 30 counties that we're responsible for. So it's tough to always explain specifics by county. But I'm going to try. Let's see. Hello, Derek. Hope you're doing well. Hello to Noob. Hello to David, Thundering Hillview. Thanks, David. Appreciate that. Shonda, just had someone in Perry County and I was told it was sprinkling there. Yeah, I think, let me zoom in back more. Sorry about all my scribbles. I draw like crazy on radars. You guys should know that. It's just now entering Perry. So they probably are now seeing a little heavier of a rain more than a sprinkle. Little concerned about some of these little kinks that are showing up here, though. Let me try to get a handle on that. The storm flow, the wind flow above this, by the way, has been relatively elevated. Here's what's interesting, too, guys. If you guys use MPing at all, and you're like, what in the world did you just say? It's MPing. You'll see it pop in the banner. Those of you that use like Radar Scope, those kind of apps, but there is ways to send in reports, and those will populate in the system. I don't see anything right now for wind that have been hit. Let me check the hail. And nope, I'm not seeing any right now. Sometimes it'd be delayed. I'm actually not seeing many reports right now. That's a little odd. Highly doubt that one. All right, we'll keep an eye on that. If you have that friend in that area in Perry County, let me know if things change and they end up with any hail or any wind like that as it moves through. Hayden, what time is the first rounds of storms expected to stop? Between now and noon, it'll take some time to get this to calm down, and then we'll get maybe about a 3 to 6 hour break, and then we'll be back at it again. At least that's the hope anyway, that we get a break. In Litchfield, thundering at the moment. Okay. Rosa, you're in Hardinsburg, is that right? I didn't see your other question. Okay, you're toward Hardinsburg, just thunder at the moment. All right, let me know, Rosa, as this moves to your area that again is heading on the western side. You can already see, guys. Yeah, it's already trying to develop a little more like this of a wall, and it's again, it's going to turn or have the appearance of turning. It's going to do this. It's going to build this way. I just don't see any fuel for this to do anything east. There's none. So I'm not concerned for areas to the east of that. So put your mind at ease on that one. That's good for Louisville. Areas roughly along 65. But again, Breckenridge, Gregson, those are the two counties right now that I think we need to watch. Let's see. Michaela, going to the local fair later today in Lebanon. You're going to be fine for the first part of the day. Depends on when you're going. If this second round gets going, certainly after 3 p.m., just check the app and just see where we are and see if there's anything that is formed. If there's anything that's formed in Indiana, you got to remember, let me show you the outlook again today. You'll notice how it's angled. Even the yellow for the slight risk and in the enhance, everything is dives southeast because that's the wind flow above our head right now. It's forcing them to the southeast. The flow of the ground is kicking in more from the south. But when you get up there to the upper layers, the atmosphere, that's the driver in the seat is the wind flow above us. And that is what's forcing them to the southeast. So if you look at the radar later and you see storms into Indiana and Louisville, kind of just mentally look and kind of draw a southeast line from that. And that would be the path they will likely take. So if that would include Marion County, then that will hopefully answer your question on that one as they move through. So good question, though. And I hope it works out. There's a lot of events going on. So I totally oh, we got a spammer. I'm sorry. Let me get rid of the spammer. I love how they spell their name Brain. How many times people spell my name Brain? So that's how I know it's already fake. Okay, let's see. Spammer alert. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm a little slow today. There's a lot of you, all right? So I appreciate being patient with me. Casey, is Friday or Saturday better for 4th of July party this weekend? 4th of July is better. So neither Friday or Saturday. But if you had to pick, I would say right now Friday would feature more of a calmer setup than Saturday daytime will. That's the way it's looking right now. But if you're going to have a 4th of July party, anybody that's listening is going to have a 4th of July party at all for this holiday weekend. And I don't care which day you choose. You've got to have a plan in place. Where are you going to put everybody if storms suddenly develop? And what kind of shelter do you have set up? Is it a tent that folded and you set it out there? Well, make sure to take it down. Don't leave it up because it'll become a projectile fairly quick. So just have a plan. I don't want anyone to have to ruin their plans this weekend. I totally understand it's a big weekend. Everyone wants to have fun. There's no reason why you can't have fun as long as you understand the scenario that we're facing and how to get informed. It's as simple as that. And you'll have time to react. They're not going to literally just unlike supercells that just tend to form right over you. These will at least form and move. So you'll have a little bit of a heads up, but certainly have the app downloaded because even warnings aside, the Wave Weather app will notify you for heavy rain and lightning, which are not severe elements by themselves per se on an extreme sense. But even if it's detected, it will notify you. And lightning especially. Lightning can strike you even if the sun is out because it can stretch out a good 10 miles from where the bolt is. It can still reach you. And we've seen that happen. So just have a plan. That's it. Billy, it's called MPing, is the letter M, and ping like ping pong, is where you can send the reports at. Some of the weather apps that are just radar focused ones for you weather gurus, they give you real technical, but they have that feature on there. We do have obviously a function in the Wave Weather app for photos. If you guys, and video too, if you fill that out on the Wave Weather app, there you'll see an option to send it in. Just pick the weather category, but you can attach your video, you can tap your picture, but make sure to be detailed. If you have hail today or wind damage, type in there as much as you can. Say what the size was, did it cause any damage, what time specifically did you see it, and so forth. Be as specific as you can. It will then hit not only our systems, it hits all of our phones here on the weather team. So we see it. And then at that point, we're able to push it through automatically on air, and then the weather service will get notified as well. And that's good because it helps everyone downstream from where you're at. So timing is everything. Only do that kind of stuff, though, if it's safe to do it. I don't want you guys to be out there trying to be storm chasers, all right? Just know that option is there, and it does help. So I hope that answers your question there, Billy. Tornado potential today for Louisville. It's a low end. It's about a 2% right now, which you're thinking, oh, that's nothing. But it's a 2% chance of a tornado within about 50 miles of a given point, which then starts to show up statistically a little higher. So it's not zero, but it's not the highest on the list. Could we get tornado warnings at any point today or in the weekend? Yeah, I think we can. And to be honest with you, I think we will. I think it's going to be hard to avoid that scenario at some point, but I think we're going to have a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings. So that would be the dominant warning, and probably number 2 will be flash flood warnings. Would be number 2. So it's going to be a busy few days for us. So I appreciate you guys being very patient. My poor dogs. I'm getting to the point where I'm just going to bring them to the station because I'm not going to be around as much. So Harry's fine, by the way. He's got his own shelter. He's good. And plus, he's got a shell. So, I mean, come on. He's built for this. Forecast, Tabitha, for Monday. Monday doesn't look too bad later in the day. It's early in the day for storms. We do have a window where Monday afternoon and actually 4th of July, we're not seeing as much coverage. So the holiday actually looks better than the weekend will. And that's not always the case. Around here, usually the holiday is the tough day for whether it's intense heat or severe weather. This year, I think it's going to be one of the quieter days. So if you want to hold off to the 4th of July to plan anything, or even that Monday evening, I think you'll be in much better shape and less stressed than you would be if you try to get it in this weekend. But that's just my opinion on that. Joey, can you show a future radar for the storms this afternoon? Yes, I can, Allie. Hold on one second. Let me pull that up. And this is updating. I'm trying to see if this is going to be the new run. It takes a little bit of time to update when it gets ingested into our system. This does look a little different. Yeah, it is different. So this is the new one. So you guys are looking at this the first time, as I am. So let me look at this for a minute. All right. So it's not bad. I don't think it did great there on initializing, which is the first frame should be very similar to what it looks like now. It's not bad. I don't think it's great, though. I don't think it's that far off to make a huge difference. Now, it's showing storms all the way through about 1 or 2 o'clock, and then it forms the round around 4, drops it in. You don't see it doesn't look as ominous as what it did earlier, right? But still, if you look at it in a bigger scope, it still has a flatter version, but still a backward C shape to it. So there we go. That's about 6 p.m. Tries to develop more cells in behind that to get us all the way to the 11 o'clock news, which let's hope that's not the case, but it's possible. This is the outlook for tomorrow morning. Here's the next round tomorrow afternoon. A lot of heat. It will be hotter, by the way, tomorrow. Look at Owensboro, 99 tomorrow. Litchfield, 97. If you get to those levels, your heat index is probably going to be 105 to 108 for some areas. That is not good because that only leads to a more violent scenario, really, with these storms, especially when it comes to large hail. But that is possible. If we get into the 90s, certainly mid-90s tomorrow afternoon, yeah, not a great thing there. And then that's the last of the model run there. So thank you for asking about it, because that is that was the new update on that one. So hope that helps. Let's see. Braden, could a flood watch be issued for Central Kentucky? Yeah, that's a good question. I'm sure they're thinking about it. The only thing that would be against it is the idea of the gaps in between those waves, 8 to 12 hours in some cases. Could that be enough to ease the drainage? It could be. It could be. So that may be the only thing they may to argue against it. What's Kevin's plans on staffing the next 3 days? Everyone's in. All hands on deck, probably. I have no idea. No, he has a plan. Don't worry. We're watching it. we're not going to be asleep very much the next few days, but we're watching it. Casera, is that right? Casera? I can barely see that. I'm sorry. Does the new model look a little bit better than this morning and so on today? A little. Again, the longer these can hold on, it will help taper down things this afternoon. The only difference that I see in the afternoon is that we don't have as much of a lid in this area of Illinois and Indiana, so it wouldn't take much. I'm on maybe an hour or two of dry time or a little bit of heating, and they'll begin to pop. So that's the only question I got. It's a tough forecast, really tough. This is why, guys, I love snow so much. Snow is way better than this stuff. For all of you that make fun of me all the time on snow, this is way better. Or that stuff would be way better. All right, Litchfield update. Who asked that? Somebody asked that. Teresa? All right, Teresa. We have got the storms, Perry County, Western Breckenridge, Litchfield. Right now, you guys are still a good 45 minutes away from getting into this, but you can see where it's already still, again, building more and more southwest. You're going to see all the warnings shift here very soon, guys. I don't know if you'll get a warning, Grayson. You could. You're around the western edge. It's possible. But all the warnings for the next, I would say, 2 to 3 hours are going to be there in that box. You're not going to see warnings over here. They're going to be all on the western fringes. Let me show you the wind outlook real quick. And then I'm going to have to run here in a second because I got to get ready for the midday show. Ooh, a lot of strong winds there. A lot of strong winds showing up. And it changes color, by the way. If you're like, what is this, Christmas? The colors change because of the different radars it's switching to. That is it's Owensville radar, basically north of Evansville. And then this is Fort Knox. Red is the wind blowing away from the radar beam. Green is toward. And obviously, the more you get enhanced in either of those color schemes, the stronger the indicator is. And so this is the Fort Knox radar. And you can see that the wind at the moment that is blowing away because the beam's right here. So it's seeing the wind blow out in this direction rapidly. Pretty strong wind moving into areas of along the Ohio River, very close to Hancock County. Let me back this up. Let's switch over to the Indiana radar. And you can see the wind. Again, it's seeing the wind blowing out from the radar beam in this direction. Actually, there's right there. You see a little wave? So if you're in Tell City, Leopold into Perry County, you're going to see the trees move here very soon. It's not an overly strong gust, but it is a strong one. And here's the thing. I don't think there was a ton of heavy rain with that. So it's kind of getting a little separated from the rain part. Let me check. Yeah, you got some rain with it, but that is certainly a strong wind gust. So that's why these warnings get drawn the way they do to account for a little bit of a bowing outward here. So if that wind field holds, that's going to be Stephensport into Hardinsburg, all the way into portions there, getting into Hancock County into Ohio County. Will also get impacted by this. So if you have friends or family there, let them know. A lot of lightning, a lot of strong wind, and heavy rain coming their way. All right, you guys good? Are you all right? Everyone feel hopefully a little more at ease of what's happening here today? Good, because I'm not. Again, if you're anywhere else other than Perry County, Hancock County, Breckenridge, and Grayson, you are just going to be dealing with general rain and thunder for the next few hours. But certainly pay attention to the forecast for this afternoon. We'll see if scenario 1 plays out or not. We're going to know that very soon. If it is, we're going to let you know too. You're going to see a more aggressive messaging come out from us on the Wave Weather app. We'll make sure to send out the notification. But for the next 2 to 3 hours, it is going to be our western counties here. You're going to see the updates on the bottom of the screen on the Wave Weather app as well. This is going to take a few hours to get through, but that's going to be the worst of the weather, it looks like, as we head the remainder of the afternoon. All right, you guys stay safe, stay close to the app as we head through the remainder of the afternoon. I'll have more coming up on this on midday here in about 50 minutes from now. I'll be back on with another update on midday, and I'll let you know where we stand, guys. All right, stay safe, and I'll see you on the flip side.